Hi guys, how are you doing? Hey everyone. Let me try to get a better shot for YouTube. How are you all doing? Hey Vic, brilliant to have you here. How are you all doing? I want to use a Burna boy and his $500,000 plus Richard Mille to explain something today biblically. So I like it if you can work with me. Let us start with a prayer. Heavenly Father, I thank you for yet another day. I ask for your mercy, your understanding. I ask for knowledge to be poured upon this generation. I ask for wisdom. I ask for mercy. I ask for forgiveness. I ask for provision and protection for me and for this beautiful family that gathered right here online. I ask for all these things through the name above every other name, the true Lucifer that brings light to mankind, and the King of every other king, Yahushua HaMashiach. And so, good evening, everyone. Um, there are things that I know a lot about, and there are things that I know a little about. The things I know a little about, I like to reference. The things I know a lot about, um, I'm still inquisitive. I'm still on a learning curve. And I seek knowledge. I want to tell you a personal experience. I remember once, when I was much younger, before I started the Free Nation, when I was still in the world, um, I used to buy watches. I loved watches, and I used to reward myself. It started with Timex. Then after Timex, I started moving slowly to other brands like Raymond Vile, Tissot, Casio, and all those other brands. Until I got myself my first luxury, or should I say, Swiss watch, which is this watch. This is my first ever Swiss watch. It's something from Oris. It's called the Oris TT. It's a diver's watch. I saw it online and fell in love with it and bought it in the Oris shop in the UK. Right after that, it became like an addiction. I started buying Rolexes. I went then to Rado before Rolex. And I remember buying my very first Rolex, 2013, thereabout. It was I bought some, but I bought on the, shall I say, pre-owned market. I bought a Milgauss. The funny thing is, the brand new ones were about $7,000. The pre-owned ones were about $6,000 back then. So I remember buying a Milgauss, which I later went on to sell. I bought a Yacht Master. I also sold a platinum bezel stainless steel, and a date just. I think the date just survived up until now, but those were the ones I bought on the pre-owned market. And then, as things they increase, I want to walk into a Rolex shop and buy my first Rolex. So I called a friend of mine up, Chidi. I'm gonna call him out now. I know you know him, Chidi Okeke. And I was like, Chidi, I saw him wear a Rolex. I'm like, Chidi, where did you get your Rolex from? He said, it was Polo. So I was like, okay, you know what? No problem. Do you know anybody in Polo that can give me a discount? So Chidi sent me Jennifer's number. So I called Jennifer up. Jennifer and I have been very good friends since then. So I called for this watch, blah, blah. I described the watch. I gave her the code. And Jennifer said, yeah, no problem that. If you're really interested, make a deposit. Problem that. If you're really interested, make a deposit. I haggled it down. And let me tell you, Polo gives really good prices. They did not pay me for this advert. They give really good, they give that can match global prices. So and Polo is one of the only companies on the Rolex website. That's the official Swiss Rolex website. You go there, you click Nigeria, you see Polo Limited there. So I was rest assured that I was buying legit. So eventually, within 30 minutes, I was able to strike a bargain. I think she gave me the watch for about $11,500 back then. It wasn't so much money. Everything was about 1.8 million or 2.1 million. It wasn't that much money. Of course, $11,000 today is about 6 million or almost 6 million now. You know, so I walked into the shop, gave them a deposit of about $1 million, and started waiting for my watch. After 3 months, I paid off the remaining balance. I was still waiting for my watch. It took a while because it was the watch they call the Hawk. So eventually, like 6 months later, my watch came. And after that, I wanted another one. So the next watch I started looking at then was the chocolate dial Daytona. Now, I wanted a bargain. I went to meet Jennifer the first time. I'm like, look, I want this watch, and this is how much I'm going to pay. In the UK, I got it for about 17,500 pounds, which was about $24,000. So I wanted Jennifer to match that $24,000. In the shop, it was more expensive. But I went back. I toasted, did everything I could. They weren't buying. They were like, look, Daddy Freeze, that price is too low. You have to add some money. So one day we're at a party, we're all dancing. They had forgotten it. And her dad was there. We're all having fun. And I just threw it to Jennifer. Jennifer, I don't want to sell me this watch. Jennifer said, just talk to my dad. That's how I talked to her dad. And the dad said, you Freeze. Okay, you know what? Just bring the money. I was in the office the very next day with the money. It took another 6 months for the watch to come. And while I was waiting for that watch to come, I'd gotten another one in the UK for that $17,000. But it was the wrong one. It wasn't the chocolate dial, it was the ivory dial. And I didn't like it, so I never wore it. I kept it in the house. Fast forward a few years later, I hadn't started the Free Nation then, but I was experiencing some financial challenges and my income dipped. So I didn't have money and I had to go to Dubai. I got to Dubai. Remember, I bought the watch $24,000. Then and there in a Rolex, I was testing some watch. You know, anytime I go to Dubai or any other country, I go to all the watch shops. I make sure I wear a nice watch. When I go in there, they see your watch. They begin to bring out their own watches. You can price. You can sit down. They'll give you coffee. It's such a nice life. So I put my watch on this. They have this little trays with some soft velvet padding. So I took off my watch and put it there. That was the ivory dial that I didn't like. And I was trying their watch. Then, okay, I want to wear my watch back. I turned around. My watch was no longer in the box. Where's my watch? One sheikh, Abi, how do you call those people wearing long, Muslim attires, was wearing the watch and he was doing his hand like this. I'm like, no, that's not for sale. That's my watch. He said, yeah, that he wants it. Do you know then and there we struck a deal for the exact same amount I bought the watch? This was about 2 years later. Was it 2 years or maybe 3 years later? Now, when I bought the watch, dollar was 175 naira to 1. I remember clearly because somebody borrowed me money then. The first time I went to make the first deposit, my good friend Toro borrowed me $5,000. So I paid the $5,000, and when I wanted to pay him back, the dollar had actually dropped. So he wasn't very happy because I now paid him back 175 naira to $1. So imagine you buying something. Bring out your calculators. Buying $24,000. This was about 17,000 pounds plus UK money. Multiplied by $175 came to about 4.2 million. Now, having the same $24,000 at a time when the dollar was 450 times 450, 10.8 million naira. This was the value in naira. So yes, it was $24,000, exactly what I paid for it, but bringing that money into naira, it was more than double. And that was the first time I started looking at it that these watches, they're a bit funny. They actually hold their value. I'm like, wow. And I remember that trip in Dubai. I walked into the Richard Mille shop. I have a friend there. I don't know if he still is there, Mohammed. So Mohammed brought out this exact watch that Burna Boy is wearing now. He said, Freeze, buy this watch. It was $175,000, $180,000 back then. I was like, First of all, let me tell you, Momo, I understand that the watch is expensive when it's made out of gold, when it has diamonds. This particular watch was made out of carbon. It had a bit of rose gold on the side, and I think a rose gold pin in the buckle, just the pin. Everything else was carbon, titanium, and rubber. The strap too was rubber. I was like, then I liked the Richard Mille brand. I wore the watch. I'm sure if I check my photos, I'll still have a picture of me wearing it. I wore the watch. And I was like, this watch is fine, but it's carbon. Who's gonna buy a carbon watch? I thought they were joking. So someone said diamonds actually don't hold value. You're a genius. So I was like, you know what? The guy said, sell any watch you have and buy this watch if you can. I will hold it for you. He even went as far as saying that, look, I will hold it for you. I was like, oh, don't hold it, Joe. I was looking for one Richard Mille that had diamonds, and it's not like I even had money then because, like I said, I was going through crisis. Fast forward till today. I want us to do an exercise. The watch I bought, someone said carbon fiber, not carbon fiber. It's another type of carbon for that Richard Mille. It's some NTPT carbon. That's what it's made out of. Some ply, it's not carbon fiber. It's different. Do me a favor. Open this website. This is where they sell second-hand watches or pre-owned watches, and type chrono24.com. Just do this with me. When I come to you, I come with facts and figures. Shango Dollar, you know your watches. This is what the site looks like. Chrono24. Now, in the search for a watch, just type Rolex Daytona chocolate. Just do that. That's the watch. I'm sure some of you have seen me wear it before. That's the watch. Now go to relevance. You see relevance there? I hope you're doing this exercise with me because I have something I want to tell you. When you go to relevance, type low to high. Low to high will show you the cheapest watch first and hit done. The first one listed is $38,000. Ignore that because that's pinned. That's like a special offer. The cheapest Rolex Daytona ceramic is $32,000. Remember, I bought this watch $24,000. $24,000 at $175 for $1. Today, the cheapest you can get this watch is $32,000 at $485 for $1. Now, when someone says 32K, it's not easy for you to get it at this price. So you look at like 10 prices and come to an average. The next one is 39,000, 39,000, 41,000. Just follow the list. So for you to get this watch, Rolex Daytona, D-A-Y-T-O-N-A, the cheapest you get this watch is anywhere between 32K and 35K. Now, the one that is offered at 32K, has this thing disappeared? Okay, 32K, if you click on the one that's offered at 32K, it shows you there, it says, condition, very good, worn with little to no sign of wear. Meaning that this watch has been used. When they say something is worn, what does it mean? It's been worn, but with little signs of wear, meaning the watch is in very good condition. So imagine you spent, let's do the math, 24,000 times 175. You spent 4.2 million getting this watch. Today the watch is worth 32K times 480. That's the last time I changed dollar last week, 480, 15 million naira. Do the math, verify what I'm saying. 15,360,000 naira for a watch that you've worn, you've enjoyed, you've rocked. It's not brand new, it's used. Let's check, just go back to that same Chrono 24 because Chrono 24 is the only verifiable site where you can buy pre-owned watches and you will not get into trouble. Just type Submariner Hulk. And type price low to high. You can see the cheapest Submariner that is used will cost you $17,000 minimum. 17,000 minimum. Remember, I bought this watch for $11,000 at less than 175, about 160 thereabout to $1. Imagine what $17,000 is at this rate. Now, a lot of people would say that your house can appreciate more than that, which is true. Nigeria is at a critical stage. Should anything happen to Nigeria and you would need to run, what can you run with? Can you run with your house? You can't run with even door. Ordinary window of your house, you can't take it and run. But you can wear a Richard Mille on one wrist. You could wear a Daytona on the other, get out of Nigeria, land in the UK and buy a house. It literally takes, someone says, run with your Bitcoin. Absolutely. But guess what? There are countries you run to and you will struggle to sell a Bitcoin. You've never struggled to sell a Rolex, ever. You won't struggle to sell a Rolex. You could struggle. There are countries where you get to, there are countries that actually have restrictions on Bitcoin. Think about it. Now let's go back to Burna Boy's watch. It was offered to me between $170,000 and $180,000 in 2016 in Dubai. Go still with me to Chrono 24 that I showed you and type RMO11. That's the code for the watch. RMO11. It's not just an RMO11, it's a special collaboration between Team Lotus and Richard Mille, featuring the Lotus driver Romain Grosjean. So just type RMO11 right there and scroll a little bit till you see the watch that looks like the watch. Basically, you might have to do a bit of scrolling. They're like 3 pages. Richard Mille's are in very short supply, so you don't have to work too hard to get to the watch. There's okay, here's one. Here's the exact watch here, but there's no price on it. It's the exact watch Burna has, but there's no price on it. So let's keep searching. I'm sure you come up with, they're usually like 1 or 2 at the most. Okay, I found the watch right here. You guys see it? If you check it, you'll see it has a red. I don't want to show these pictures too much because of copyright issues. Please let them not come and find me copyright on my channels, because I'm trying to show you Burna Boy's watch. Okay, since we have a picture of Burna Boy wearing it, I might as well just use that one. You see this watch? This is what it looks like. You can see the red winder and the gold pushers. Okay, red winder, gold pushers. This is the watch right here. I want to show you what the price is. Read that backwards or show the screen to a mirror. Take this screen and show it to a mirror. You know what that is? $549,995. That is $550,000. I don't know when Burna bought his. And this is not new. Not new. Let me show you clearly so you see. Work with me. It shows condition. If you could read this right there. It is a bit, unfortunately, I can't flip the screen for you. It says condition very good, worn with little to no sign of wear. Imagine I bought this watch in 2016. I'd have easily made $400,000, almost $400,000 on it. And if I was still wearing it and enjoying it, I could have even made more. Because 2 years ago, I was struggling with one guy. I didn't have money. I was just, you know when you don't have money, but you're pricing something. I was asking this guy to sell it to me for $250,000. He was saying $270 last. I have my conversation. If I go through my chat, I will find that chat and maybe I'll send it to Simplify. Less than 3 years ago, what's 3 years? About 2 years plus, I was still doing Live and Dangerous. Not Live and Dangerous, After Dark with Naomi then, when I was chatting with the guy. The guy told me that if I cannot bring 270K, I should forget it. I was arguing with the guy. I was saying like, look, there are scratches on this watch. Why do you want to sell this watch at 270? This watch gets scratched. The guy said with the scratch like that, 270K. Do you know that if I had bought that watch then, I would have doubled my money by now? Someone said, I beg, no give thieves idea, actually. But you see, most people who shop for watches also remember to insure them. Now, with a watch like this Richard Mille, if you lose it, you're going to cry because you might never get another one again. But if you are insured, you will be cushioned to a large extent. Someone said, you know whether an original Burna boy buy? Fake Watch Buster actually featured him. That's how I know that it's most likely original. I don't think Burna Boy would wear fake and flaunt it. We know the celebs that wear fake. We know them. Burna Boy drives a Rolls Royce Dawn. Many of you don't realize that Rolls Royce convertible is more expensive than the Rolls Royce Jeep. People don't get it. They think, because it's a smaller car. The Dawn starts at a higher price than the Cullinan. So somebody that can afford a $300,000+ car, and that's not his only car. He has Ferrari. He has I don't know if he still has a Bentley. I don't think it's fake. Now, what exactly am I deriving from all this plenty storytelling that I'm giving you today? I'm trying to let you know that there's so much you thought you knew that you didn't. There's so much you thought you knew. There's so much we all thought we knew that we're only realizing now that we didn't. There are people who have used watches as collateral. Louis Cartier, the man behind the Cartier empire, bought his first shop on New York's Fifth Avenue with the sale of one necklace. He had a pearl necklace, a special pearl diamond. I've forgotten what it was. Just read about Louis Cartier's story. Someone said, what we don't know is so much bigger than us. And that is why I want to come with you once again with the Bible. Matthew chapter 13 and verse 12. The more you listen to my teachings, the more you'd have understanding until you have an abundance of knowledge. Look around you at Christianity today. There's no knowledge, let alone the abundance of it. There's little understanding. Is dogma, beliefs passed down from generation to generation that nobody ever cross-checked. Do you know how many errors are in the Bible? Do you know how many contradictions are in the Bible? Because someone told you that this was the word of God, remember Ephesians chapter 6 verse 5 tells slaves to honor their masters. And that verse was what was used to put black people in chains for centuries. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 5. Slaves, obey your earthly masters. Some people come and say, no, it wasn't talking about slaves. I studied the Bible in Greek. The word was doulos. Doulos means slave. It doesn't mean servant. It doesn't mean staff. It means what it means, slave. And until you're ready to challenge the status quo, until you're ready to lift yourself from a point where they've dropped you, and you see, you need to start questioning yourselves. How can Nigeria be so religious and we fail this badly? Someone is here saying, freeze, you ain't woke. The world runs on intelligent. You don't even sabi speak English. You dey phone woke. You dey talk, you know if you communicate. You are speaking without saying. If I tell you now to go back to all the schools you've attended and collect a refund, it will look like I'm being wicked to you. Someone said Nigeria is in progress with God. Countries that got their independence after you that don't have this your Israeli God that people are, your British God that people are worshipping. Countries like Singapore that got their independence 5 years after us have the world's most powerful passport in the world, second only to Japan. A Singaporean passport is more powerful than a Canadian, German, British, or American passport. And they are 5 years younger than us. The UAE, Dubai, is 11 years younger than us. Nigeria is a progress. There's no progress. Nigeria is a digression, a demotion, a retardation. From the day we got our independence, someone went into Nigeria's cockpit. I keep saying this. Pilots will understand this. Went to Nigeria's cockpit. Went to the flight, what do they call it? I went to the descent section, and there's a little button. Is descend on the left side. Descend now. Somebody just hit that button. Bah. Nigeria as an aeroplane started descending from independence. Where are you progressing to? Do you progress backwards? If you want to walk from here to Ajah, do you turn your back to Ajah and start walking backwards? You call this progress? Look at Ghana. That's progress. Look at Rwanda. That was on the brink of war. How many years ago? That's progress. Look at Kenya. That's progress. Look at Dubai. That's progress. Look at Romania. That's progress. The only thing we are progressive at is building more churches. The other day, they approved in the north government money to fund religion. As in, how did we get here? And you see, because you sit down and you take a book, and the moment you hold on to this book, your logic defies you. Your education leaves you. I was telling somebody the other day, how can you say, because Proverbs chapter 30 verse 30 said the lion is the strongest animal, and it retreats from no other. How can you take the Bible's words for it? Is the Bible a science book? Is the Bible an encyclopedia? A Bible is a book of poems, a spiritual book. And someone will say, yes, it doesn't really matter that the guy was speaking metaphorically. Listen, people take the words from the Bible when they want to and hold on to it. I put up a video on my Facebook page. 8 animals that can kill a lion. You'll see a giraffe kick a lion to death. Giraffe. We're not talking about tiger. A full-grown Nile crocodile will cut a lion into 2. It has a stronger bite force than a shark. They're animals lions don't mess with. Even as a team, they consider can be one lion. One lion will never look at a full-grown buffalo. Let me tell you, even to human beings, buffaloes are more dangerous than lions. Because a buffalo will charge you and they're aggressive. I've seen a video of where motor they go, rhinoceros face am, give the motor scatter. But you see all of that and you ignore it. Because Solomon, according to you, wrote Proverbs. And Solomon is the most intelligent of all. You see, that same Bible debunks so many things. I want to read something to you from the book of Luke, chapter 7. Here's Christ talking. After John the Baptist's disciples left, I'm reading from verse 24, Yahushua began talking to the crowds. What kind of man did you see in the wilderness? Was he weak, like a reed swayed from side to side? Or were you expecting to see a man dressed in expensive clothes? No, people wear beautiful clothes and live in luxury are found in palaces. Were you looking for a prophet? Yes, and he's more than a prophet. John is the man to whom the scriptures refer when they say, look, I'm sending my messenger ahead of you, and he'll prepare your way before you. I tell you, of all who have ever lived, none is greater than John. Of all who have ever lived, none is greater than John. Christ already debunks. You see, there are things Christ couldn't say in his day and time because of the perception of the people that our cognition, our understanding is beginning to show us that even people like John were greater than David and Solomon, let alone Christ. So are you going to try to tell me that Solomon was wiser than Christ because the Bible said he was wise, is the wisest ever have lived? I question Solomon's wisdom today. He was the wisest to ever have lived back then in Israel. In today's world, where will you now put Christ? Where will you put people like John? Where would you put the people who brought Christianity to you? Peter, Paul, Barnabas, Titus. Aristocrat Condes, you say one more thing out of line and I'll block you. I'm gonna block you. You can't come to my page and say I'm not woke because I'm not subscribing to your ideology, because I'm not an atheist. I'm not an atheist. I believe in God. I just don't believe you can keep God in a book. And those of you who are trying to keep God in that book, how much of that book have you read? Have you read that book in original languages? As you know, they hear what I go block you. Simple. I don't want, you see, when you want person and person no hear store word, you could just block them and they follow you. See, they argue on my page. Go your page, go do video about Daddy Freeze. Esther, God bless you, way back then they have fulfilled their part. Now Christ said, greater things you will do. You have not even been able to match what the disciples did, let alone greater things. What are the greater things you've done? You can't do great things in ignorance that Hosea chapter 4 verse 6 tells you will lead you to perish. How do you do greater things in ignorance? You need to understand that the Bible is filled with so many errors, and I'm going to show you a few. In fact, I'm just going to show you one. Let me go and eat and rest. I have work to do later on. Vic, are you still here? I think Vic has gone. Oh, wow. And I was enjoying him. For those of you who take the Bible and believe it is a faultless book, someone is coming to my page and saying, "Guy, you don't the old. Shoro niye. Inside waiting with a talk. If they born you with low IQ, you know if you beg God, make him give you. Like Baba Debo is saying, if your brain is not good, ask God for a new brain. You need a whole new central nervous system, plus your brain, your nerves, your spinal cord, everything needs refurbishing. That empty head, you know if you just they carry on the waka, they go they dupe you. Person they tell you have a body, don't they hold you? As in, are you so hollow, vacuous, empty? I was watching, me and Tastebud spend a lot of time watching documentaries. There is nothing evil from the Crusade Wars to the battle at Constantinople to the battle between the Mongols and the church that Christianity was not a key factor in it. The battle of the Knights Templar, as in this was correct evil done behind the cross. I want to show you something. Just so you see. I think it's here. Man, I'm still looking for it. Okay, all this Deuteronomy, Samuel, yes, has to do with David. Okay, I want to show you something in the scriptures. Jesse. Yes. Open 1 Samuel chapter 16. 1 Samuel 16, 10 and 11. All of you, open it. 1 Samuel 16, verse 10 and 11. First Samuel 16, 10 and 11. Let's read it together, all of you. In the same way, all seven of Jesse's sons were presented to Samuel, but Samuel said to Jesse, "The Lord has not chosen any of these." Then Samuel asked, "Are these all the sons you have?" All the seven were presented. And Samuel said, "Are these all you have?" "There is still the youngest," Jesse replied, "but he's out in the field watching the sheep and goats." So they brought 7 of Jesse's sons. But David was not among the 7. And they had to go and bring David. Read it yourself. Don't trust me. Read it. 1 Samuel 16, verse 10. 1 Samuel 16, verse 11. Read it now. So I want to ask you, how many sons did Jesse have? Answer me. I have work to do. I don't want to waste time. How many sons did Jesse have? Verse 10 says, In the same way, all 7 of Jesse's sons were presented to Samuel, but Samuel said to Jesse, "The Lord has not chosen any of these." All the 7 sons of Jesse were presented. So he asked, "Are these all the sons you have?" "They're still the youngest." "So how many sons does Jesse have?" "8, Abi." All right, let's continue. Let's read 1 Samuel 17 now and verse 12. 1 Samuel chapter 17 and verse 12. Let's read this together. Now David was the son of a man named Jesse, an Ephrathite from Bethlehem in the land of Judah. Jesse was an old man at that time. He had 8 sons. Read it just in case you do not believe the counting. He had 8 sons. Read it in 1 Samuel chapter 17 and verse 12. Read it yourself. Have you read it? So I have given you 2 scriptures that confirm that Jesse had 8 sons. Now please go with me. Please go with me. Sorry, I'm opening up the scriptures. Forgive me. First Chronicles chapter 2 verse 13 and 15. First Chronicles chapter 2 13 to 15. First Chronicles chapter 2 13 to 15. Let's read that together. First Chronicles 2 verse 13. Jesse's first son was Eliab. His second was Abinadab. Third was Shimeah. We're now on verse 14. His fourth was Nathanael. His fifth was Radai. His sixth was Ozem, and his seventh was David. Remember, the other verse said, after they had brought all 7 of Jesse's sons, they said there was one left. So one of these 2 verses must be lying. The 2 of them cannot be correct. And John chapter 8 clearly tells us that any lie, no matter how small, comes from Satan, who is the father of all lies. When it comes to numbering, when it comes to counting years, when it comes to things that have to do with animals or science, I never take the Bible's word for it. Read it by yourself. I'm giving you all the verses. Go and spend some time on your own. How can the Bible say there are 8 and the same Bible gives you 7? And the same Bible said they had brought all the seven except David. And then they are counting the seven and David is among. Read it. It doesn't remove the value of the word of God from the Bible. It just emphasizes the weakness of man and the shallowness of man's understanding. God gave the revelation to men who interpreted it in their words, and their words and understanding was not as vast as the understanding of God, and it cannot be, because if it does, your God loses his value. God is so powerful, so deep, that not Solomon nor any other living person could understand him. If not, then he isn't God. What's the use of a God that everybody can understand? Then what makes him superior to you? While many of you are trying to uphold the words in this book that have been proven to be incorrect, you are missing the Spirit of God, because the scriptures in John chapter 4 says God is looking for those who worship him in spirit and in truth. If there's no truth there, there's no God there. John chapter 8 verse 32. You will know the truth and it will set you free. I have told you, lion is not the strongest animal. You will know the truth and it will set you free. I have told you there are errors and contradictions in the Bible. You will know the truth and it will set you free. Holding on to lies and ignorance only will spell your destruction. Take care, and may Yahweh lift you up. And when I tell you that Christ is the Lucifer, the phosphorus, the bringer of light, many of you reject it and give the devil. That's why you have no light in your life. Let Lucifer, the true Lucifer, bring down his light to you. The scriptures in John chapter 1 verse 4, in the Greek version, refer to him as phoston anderon, the light of all man. Allow the light of Lucifer rise in your heart. As 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 19 clearly says, until the day dawns and Christ the Lucifer rises in your heart. Until that day, you will continue living in ignorance, defending buffoonery, and practicing falsehood. Stay blessed. I love you all.